The Bear Bryant Show had already run 2 decades, part film room, part front porch, and all legend. But in 1982, its final season would give fans something they'd never seen before: a young quarterback learning how to sit beside a giant.
I probably had the most powerful non-paying job in America. I was Coach Bryant's eyes and ears.
In 1982, Steadman Shealy was just 24, fresh off a national title, and still calling Coach Bryant Sir. When Bryant asked if he'd like to co-host the show, Shealy answered the only way you could: "Yes, sir, Coach." The show was filmed in Birmingham every Sunday morning, and for Shealy, each week began with half an hour of nerves and pure awe.
With Coach Bryant, he runs the show anyway. All I did is facilitate a little bit.
Bryant could never turn off the coach in him, even on TV.
The funny part would be is when he'd start coaching me on the show.
Sometimes it was about how to carry a football on camera, sometimes how to carry yourself as a man. Millions watched as a legend mentored the next generation in real time. The Bear Bryant Show was as much a ritual for fans as Sunday service, but for players, it was nerve-wracking.
It all come out in the show. So I didn't watch the show because I didn't want to see if I misread. I was one of those guys that could make 9 good reads and 1 bad read, and I focused on the bad.
Right.
That was just my nature, and I didn't want to see it.
Every clip was a film room lesson, and every word from Bryant was law. It's a story the crew told for years, the day a fire broke out on set and the bear never blinked.
The story they always talked about was during the show, Coach Bryant took the coat and poured it in the trash can. And everybody's, why is Coach Bryant doing that? What happened? Somehow the trash can, maybe he was smoking those Campbells, and somehow and next thing you know, the trash can was on fire. And Coach Bryant didn't miss a beat, just poured the Coke on there and just went back to doing the show. Coach Bryant never missed a beat. But everybody wanted to know, why was he pouring out his Coke? And he was putting out a fire. Right between Charlie and Coach Bryant.
Classic Bryant, unflappable, deadpan, cool under pressure. After the Southern Miss game in 1982, Coach Bryant walked into the studio and told Steadman something he'd never forget.
I guess probably one of the saddest days, in a way, besides when Coach Bryant passed, was when he walked in after the Southern Miss game, and he goes, "Steadman, I'm going to retire." He said, "To let Reggie Collier beat us running the ball and lose him." And that was it.
The words hung in the air. They finished the show like nothing had happened. It was the end of an era, and no one watching knew. A few months earlier, during win number 315, a phone rang off stage. President Ronald Reagan was on the line.
315 came, and the station people came to me and they said, "Julie, there's somebody that called us on the private line, the red phone in the studio, in the control room, and they want to talk to Coach Bryant." And I thought, well, who could that be? So I marched in there and I said, I said, "May I help you?" And all my 28-year professionalism. And she said, "We'd like to talk to Coach Paul Bryant." I said, "Well, I'm sorry, he's not available. Who's calling?" And she said, "The president." I said, "The president of what?" And she said, "Ronald Reagan, the president of the United States." He was in the client room watching the tape, which I told you, you do not disturb the man when he's his tape. Mm-hmm. Now, what are you going to do? You have the president of the United States on the phone and Coach Bryant. So I went down and I knocked on the door and I opened the door about this wide. "Coach Bryant, President Reagan's on the phone, but I'll take a message for you if you want me to." I was terrified. And he got up and he went. And it turned out that President Reagan had called him in the locker room after the connection was not good, and he wasn't sure that Bryant knew was calling back. He's not happy.
It was a moment that summed up his reach from Tuscaloosa to Pennsylvania Avenue. Bryant understood the power of television before anyone in college football. He used the medium to teach as much as to win.
He was a master at making a point. And I firmly believe he did that to make a point. And he would just use me to help facilitate this point. I've been on the practice field coaching, and he'd come down there and start coaching me about what he was really doing was making a point to the guys I was working.
December 1982, the last episode. Bryant sits under the lights, eyes tired, voice steady. He thanks the fans, the players, and the good Lord above.
And so that's how it was really ended up being a lot of fun. And then once I got over, okay, am I doing this right or whatever? Because I've never done anything like this. But the people we worked with were great. I had a blast, and Coach Bryant seemed happy with it. So if he was happy, that's all I cared.
Bryant passed away just weeks later, but his image never did. Every modern coach's show, every highlight reel, every Sunday recap owes a debt to the man in the houndstooth hat and the crew who kept the film rolling.
Every household in Alabama, I'm telling you, at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, they were watching Denny Chimes ring. That's the way we always started the show, with 4 gongs from Denny Chimes and a picture of Denny Chimes. And they would start there, and even most of the Alabama people would watch the Auburn show the next day. And most of the Auburn people would watch Coach Bryant's show beforehand.
It's not the will to win that matters. It's the will to prepare to win. Before SportsCenter, before ESPN, before the 24-hour news cycle, there was the Bear. And on Sundays, he taught us all how to love the game.